Yeah, I mean, I just putting this class together, we really were able to get back to kind of normal recruiting uh, from last spring until now, where the year before everything was different. But really excited about this class. I think staff did an excellent job. It always starts with them and the work that they've put in finding players, watching film. It's a long process, especially at our level, because the support staff is not what the bigger schools have. So, there's a lot of time involved, and just trying to find what our kind of guys. OKGs is what we call them, and I think our guys did a great job. And we were able to sign a lot of players that were at our summer camp this past summer. So it was good to get that going again. We can visually see them, which I think is very important. And I think the dynamics of college recruiting is different. In the last 2 years, it's changed, and there's a lot of players out there, and it's our job as coaches to try to sort through those guys and find the guys that are truly going to fit into our football program. And you never really know. You never really know how everything's going to turn out. But again, I think my initial thoughts are very excited about this group of players that we have signed, and we needed a big number too. We're really not done. We're never done at this level, but there's still a couple things we're still kind of looking for. So we could add maybe a few guys here in the next couple months.
Greg?
Looking at this class, 11 of them are either offensive or defensive linemen. Was that kind of the intention of this class to get the linemen signed?
Well, I think every year I know at Emporia State and really kind of at this level, I think those guys are a commodity. And, we went into this year going to sign maybe 5 offensive linemen and maybe 3 defensive linemen. But if we're able to get some others and add to the mix, then we're going to do that, because depth is always an issue at both those positions. Now it's changed a little bit defensively, since now we're an odd front, so we don't have to necessarily recruit as many defensive linemen, but still you want depth at those positions. So, yeah, I don't think initially we went into it going to sign that big of a number, but glad that we did.
As you look at the overall picture of this particular class, is there one way you would describe it, or is this a class that fits a lot of needs, or is it a class that you were able to take the best available player?
Well, I think all of those elements combined, Greg, honestly. We always go into every, we just got out of a staff meeting and have already talked about an initial plan of attack for next year, looking 2 years down the road and what we're going to lose. And it will change. That's the thing about Division II recruiting. I always call it organized chaos at our level. A lot of things can change where you feel like you're going to get a kid. Maybe he gets a Division I offer, or a kid falls in your lap because they lost a Division I offer. You may go into it just like with offensive line. We were going to sign 5, and I think we ended up maybe with 6 or 7, so – and that's where you want to just be able to take the best available. But I think for the most part we did meet our needs. And again, I think it's a good class. I think there are a lot of good players out there this year. I really do.
Okay, next person up.
I'll take it as my turn shortly after you.
There you go, Greg.
So, with all the seniors leaving after this football season, was there a specific group that you kind of wanted to recruit more to make up for their absence?
I think starting with offensive line, that would have been number one. And the reason is because now we return everybody offensively, and we return a lot of players defensively. I think we maybe lost 3 starters. So right now we have close to 95 players in our program right now. So, I think that for us it was, ask that again. I just forgot. I totally lost my train of thought again.
No, it's okay. I was just asking if there was a position group you're
Oh, yeah.
on moving into because of seniors.
Yeah. Offensive line, of course, because we lose 4 of them next year. So we wanted to make sure we got plenty there. And then after that, it was, initially we wanted to sign like 2 receivers. We had 1 running back that we went into this year going to only sign 1 high school running back. We signed 2. That's because one of our guys coming back is graduating and is not going to play his senior year. So, and that happened. So, we signed some extra guys there. We knew that this class needed to be a good number. If you look at last year's class, we had a lower number than we did this year. That was because of the super seniors. Well, also you got super juniors, so one thing as coaches, what we got to do is we got to be in communication with our guys that are super juniors to find out if after next year they're going to come back and play, their senior year. The guys that are going to be juniors now coming up. So believe me, it is confusing. So that's why I got smart guys on my staff to talk to figure out all the numbers that we need to get in recruiting moving forward. See, it's so confusing, I forgot the question earlier.
I know. And so I don't know if you have like a rundown of your signees in front of you or anything, but I wanted to ask about Camden Barta and Casey Stahlbomber. They're both from Seaman High School in Topeka. I just want to ask, what made you think that they'll fit in to the Hornet culture and what you think about that?
Well, first we've both the Cowan brothers are here from Topeka Seaman, and those guys are doing a really good job for us. Both of those players really just fit kind of our culture. I look at both those guys as being utility players where they can play both sides of the football because they're very athletic. And I think at our level in Division II, I think the most important thing for coaches is to not cookie-cut recruit and say, all right, here's a corner, and we're going to sign him as a corner. Or here's a receiver, and we're going to sign him as a receiver. Some of our best players have been guys that we might sign as a receiver, and then a year or 2 years later we might move him to defensive back, and he becomes an all-conference player for us. So I think with those guys, combined with their work ethic and just kind of who they are, they're good students, come from, great values, got great character. I think, the utility that they can bring to the table, really excites us. And it was really exciting about those guys because they were early commits for us. I think we brought them up before Christmas time and they committed, maybe 2 weeks later. So and then they stayed with it. So anytime you get commits early, they're truly one of your type of guys, so we're excited about those two. You bet.
I had a couple questions text. Just talk about your Kansas kids in particular, how that compares to what you've done in the past. You've got like 5 kids in the Shrine Bowl. So.
Yeah, I think we got a good number of Kansas high school signees, and we've always been, I think, here the last few years done a really good job in the state. You always want to make sure you start in your home state. I think that. The quality of talent that we got is at a high level. The players, as Don said, we have 5 of those players going to play in the Shrine Bowl. So there's a lot of other people that think a lot of them. And playing in the Shrine Bowl is a great honor. You got to first be nominated by your head coach. So your head coach must think a lot of you. And we're big believers in finding the right type of guys that are going to fit in here. And we're excited about those players from Kansas. I really felt like we might have done our best job in the state that we've done in quite a while. And there's some of those guys that, they're not playing in the Shrine Bowl, but they are quality athletes that are going to be players that are going to do the right thing, on and off the field. They're going to be accountable. They're going to be great teammates. They're going to be tough-minded individuals that are committed to the game of football, because I think you got to truly be committed to play at this level. It's tough. We ask a lot of our players, and we got guys that, basically aren't on full football scholarships. So, you got to find those guys who are going to stick with it, because the way that we've had success here is cultivating our players within our system. We don't bring in a lot of transfers. We will sign transfers if we need immediate help. But the way it's worked for us is bringing those guys in and making them better. And it starts with the type of kid you're going to get. If they're committed, well, it's going to make it easy for us to coach them and hopefully develop those guys. So very excited about this group that we got from Kansas.
And then specifically, you got the 1A Offensive Player of the Year, Lance Hofsummer, quarterback from Sedgwick. Just talk about him just a little bit.
Yeah, Lance was a player that was at our camp this summer. He actually came to our camp twice. So right then and there, I really knew, I'm talking about commitment. I really felt like that showed a strong sense of that. And then to come to our place both times, I knew he liked us. And I'm a big believer in also, we want to recruit players that really initially want to be a part of our program. And I think he always wanted to do that. And he had a great year. I mean, he had one game. I think he was 27 of, I don't know exactly the stats, but I think he threw one incompletion. Don, I played here for 4 years and was a high school quarterback. I couldn't do that on 7-on-7 on air. I couldn't do it on air, So he's going to fit the mold that we've had some really great quarterbacks here in the past, and I think he's another one that will come in and compete. And also, I think the other Gage Roach is another one. He came to our camp too as well. I coach quarterback, so it's huge for those guys to be at our camp so we can watch him throw with our eyes and get eyes on him. And both those guys, I know, like Gage, he led Blue Valley West to probably the farthest they've been in the playoffs in a long time, and a lot of that was due to his improvement from his junior year to his senior year. So he's another player that we're really excited about at that position. A lot of times I usually just sign one quarterback. This year I felt like there were a lot of good quarterbacks out there, and we were able to get two very quality young men that we're excited about.
All right. Anybody else have anything?
Yeah. The only thing I was going to mention that some of those guys, you got a couple of legacy guys. Roach is one of them.
Yeah. Harrelson.
Yeah.
Greg, that's a good question. I think in recruiting, and I'm just talking about this level, all right? And the one thing that I've found out through the years, because I think you can learn something every year once recruiting's over, but I think through my time here, I think it means a great deal when you're finding players where there's former players that either played with me and they have a son, or just alums of this university, and even just, we talk about family over everything. That's one of our core values, one of our core bricks. And I don't want it to be just something that we talk about. I want it to be known here. And if you look at the guys we sign, Gage Roach, his brother Dylan plays here on our football team. You have the Cowan brothers. I already talked about them. Colt Sell, his dad played here at Emporia State. His grandpa is in a Hall of Honor, and there's so many people that is in relation to him that went to school here. I'm probably gonna miss somebody, but I think I think that's important. Cade Harrelson, who's our starting outside linebacker, his brother's big 6'7", 210-pound tight end, signed with us. I just think that goes a long way. I think and I think that's important. I really do. And it goes a long way when we talk about finding our type of guys that are going to come here and they're going to stay here. And if they stay here and they're patient, they're going to become good players. I believe that. And some of them may be better players than others, but they're going to have a role.
I did have one question. Brooks Lowe, is he any relation to Bill Lowe?
Hey, there's another one. Coach Lowe, who coached at Emporia High, some years back. I think even before I got here, he might have been an assistant here on this staff. But when I got the head job here, he was the head high school coach. We had a relationship. I think the world of Coach Lowe. Coach Goodman, who coaches for me now, he played for Coach Lowe. And I think, Brooks is a great player. He is, an epitome of one of our type of guys. He's tough. He wrestles right now. He's a little light, so we got to put weight on him. But yeah, he is. Bill Lowe is his uncle. So we knew. I know what type of competitor Coach Lowe was, so I know we got good bloodline right there. So we're excited about Brooks.
The other question I had was, with the transfer portal, how much did that come into play with this recruiting class? Or is the transfer portal something that comes into play once you get maybe into the summer, you start looking for maybe?
Yeah, the transfer portals come into play in a lot of different areas. I think just for us in general in recruiting, that's something that we look at every day. All right. The thing about the transfer portal is the guys that we're kind of interested in right now, the reason they get into it is they want to either go to if they're a Division II kid, they want to go up, move up, all right? Or if they're a Division like an FCS kid or a FBS kid, well, they want to stay at that level. So sometimes it's like chasing a ghost for a while. You just kind of stay with it, and then, maybe down the road you'll have an opportunity to get that player. And we look at it, we use it. We signed one transfer in this class. Yeah, we may sign maybe one more, maybe two more as we progress through the spring and summer. But I think the transfer portal's definitely changed college recruiting, and I think that's why there's so many players, high school football players, which I thought was difficult this year. You had a lot to sort from because there's a lot of players available. There's more available now than there have been in the past because of the transfer portal, and I'm still proud to say that, since the transfer portal has kind of came into existence, we have nobody that has even entered it. So, and I don't know if anybody else can say that in our league, and I don't know what that means. The one thing that I do think it means is that I think we do have a great culture here, and it's not perfect. And I know eventually we're going to lose somebody to the portal, so again, the portal's definitely changed some things, but we will look at that portal every day, Greg. And sometimes it's like find a needle in a haystack. It's not like a recruiting service where it has their name, but it doesn't say what position they play. It doesn't have their stats. So you got to go and dig all that up.
That's all I have, Coach. Thanks.
You bet.
I got one more thing here, talking about Kingsley Bennett and Brooks Lowe both being track kids too.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. Coach Blocker and I have had a great relationship ever since. He's been here and I've been here. And I'm a big believer in recruiting to recruit players that are multiple sport athletes. I think that's important. Well, I have no problem with players that play for me, play here in our program, that want to do another sport. As long as they're able to balance it and they have the type of commitment that they need to have, because it's very difficult. And both Brooks Lowe, his mother was a great track athlete at Kansas State. And Brooks throws the javelin. He's really good. And if he can help our track team, guess what? He's going to compete for our track team. Kingsley Bennett, hey, I'm an offensive guy. So, I love fast guys. All right? You can do a lot of things with fast guys. They make coaches look really smart, and speed kills. So Kingsley, I think he's a 10 300 meters guy. You watch his highlight film. It's one of those highlight films going to jump off the screen because he can make people miss. And he's going to be a guy that's going to run track here. And I have no problem with that because it doesn't affect what he does during spring practice. We work really well together. And I like to watch our guys compete. If there's a track meet here and our guys are participating, I want to go watch them. I want to watch them compete. Those are the guys you want on your team. We even have a player right now that plays basketball. He came here to play basketball, and he also played football for us. So, again, I know this is Division II athletics, and people say you can't do those sort of things, but I'm like, if they're good enough, why not? Who cares? It's all about supporting one another, and I think that's one of the great things about Emporia State in general.
All right. Anybody else have anything? All right.
Hey,
Thank you.
all right. Good to see you guys.